I think like having this middleware that simplifies how you build your specialized neobank in Paraguay, or you build your specific wealth manager in Uganda, etc. It's all very powerful because before all these primitives were very, very locked by regulation, by big players, and all that all that moat around it. And so for us, being able to offer this access, regardless of like the geography or ethnicity, etc., is like a very powerful mission.
Welcome to the DevNTell podcast, where founders, hackers, and anyone in between showcase their products built on the bleeding edge of tech. GM, welcome to the show, Joan. I'm so ecstatic to have you on today, man.
Hey, how are you doing, Narp? Thanks for stopping by and inviting me.
Of course. Likewise, thank you for stopping by on the show as well. Yeah, man. I've been taking a look into Openfort, and it looks like you guys have built quite a suite of really useful tools for developers to basically get up and running with wallets. But before we get into all of that, would you like to give a introduction about yourself, folks who aren't familiar?
Yeah, for sure. So for everyone that never heard of Openfort ourselves, I'm Joan, one of the co-founders here. Basically, Openfort started a little more than 3 years ago within the gaming entertainment space in crypto, to later on realizing that there's more parts of the stack that could be improved in terms of private key management, sending transactions on the blockchain, etc. And so today we kind of like position ourselves as like an open source wallet operating system. We can dive a little bit better, like what does it mean and like what parts are working together to accomplish that. But yeah, very excited to be here.
Oh, amazing. And yeah, we're really excited to have you here as well. I guess just curious, how did you find yourself in the technology space in crypto and eventually becoming a co-founder?
It's a good question. But I started this venture with my brother and co-founder Jaume. Before starting Openfort, we were actually doing other kind of like more traditional businesses. One of those back at the time when we had GPT-3, the predecessor of ChatGPT, and so we were building a lot of in the kind of like indie hacker community, trying things out, and then luckily we came across all the hackathons from ETH Global and like other smaller ones. And so we participated in some online, others in person. And then from there, you start having a kind of like an opinionated view of what a good solution could be, like what are the problems that the ecosystem faces, etc. And that got us, straight into Openfort and like the whole wallet stack.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I've heard some founders have a similar story, but I don't think I've ever come across, at least not one that comes to mind, a company co-founded by a pair of brothers. I think it's really awesome.
It's unique in its challenge, but it's actually pretty fun.
Yeah, I mean, it lets you both be like completely and openly honest with each other at all times. Right? It's a different dynamic than if you were with a non-family relative. Eh?
Yeah. You probably start from a trust. From a trust place that is completely different from someone that you just met, say, 6 to 12 months in, right? Which is good.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, I guess you kind of almost alluded to it, but I guess while you were kind of building through those hackathons and whatnot, I'm sure you came across a slew of different problems and just the wallet usage domain and wallet infrastructure in itself. I guess for the audience today who might not be familiar or might be new to the space, what are some of the paramount problems top of mind for you relating to wallets and wallet management?
Well, it's a very good question, and it's unfortunately a place that there's still a lot of room to improve and to get kind of like a consensus agreement of like what the end state of a UX and wallet should look like. There's been a lot of like progress there, right? Like when we started, people were literally managing wallets through Chrome extensions. Now we completely changed paradigm to embedded wallets. I think like the next iteration will be probably around agentic wallets and how we manage security in those. Um, but I think like some of the problems that we fortunately already solved is how we manage private keys. How to a certain extent we guarantee that that who's the custodian of those private keys. We also solve the interactions that are happening in the blockchain, meaning how do we send ERC20 to stable coins without having to pay gas, or how do we earn stable coins from yield in a smooth and a fast way. So all those parts are like are hopefully like already solved within wallets. I think parts that are still not solved and probably require a little bit more digging. If you look at the specific ecosystems, for instance, in Ethereum now, you have a huge, let's say a huge conversation happening around, okay, what's the next stage of account abstraction? How does it look like? Do we implement a new standard called frame transactions? Do we go for something more entrenched within the protocol, etc.? Like all this, it's good because it basically means that there's good progress within the ecosystem. It kind of like resembles to like a V1, V2, V3 of normal software products. And so eventually it all means that, you need to have less middleware to manage like a very good UX. You need to have less dependencies. You can be less vendor dependent. So it's actually good progress there. And I think for the most part, any, user product already has a good variation of UX solved. And I think like the next challenge, as I was saying, is like the agentic wallets and how do we manage those? How does it look like for us to incorporate, permissions, automations, and all that type of stuff?
Yeah, that's amazing to hear. And I don't know if you caught it yesterday, but it was like all over my timeline. Somebody apparently swapped with a mobile wallet $50 million of USDT to
That's crazy.
Aave, and there was like basically 90% or more of slippage, and they resulted getting, I don't know, like 40,000 or something like that. That's some really, really low number. Yeah, I guess like when stuff like that happens, like as a founder trying to kind of better the wallet UX space and as a whole, what's your reaction to that?
Yeah, I had like a confronting feelings. I guess for one, I was like, okay, maybe he has like a very, strong setup with like a bunch of, I don't know, passkey encrypted seed phrases with a multi-sig behind it, etc. Like he felt very secure to do that with the phone. We might be reaching to a point that yes, we actually can self-custody all that money. But it also like it was very crazy to me, like thinking that you can have that much slippage on chain, even though they said that they had like the right, cautionary banners to say like, look, this is gonna be like packed significantly, like the return of the transaction, etc. I think it's like overall, I would say like this was like very responsible, but it's good that this person was able to do that before getting hacked, I guess. But yeah, it's kind of like a interesting event for sure.
Yeah, yeah, to say the least. Yeah. Yeah, I guess kind of segue from that. I'm really keen to kind of hear your side of the story of all things Openfort. So I guess like as an introduction, how would you describe Openfort to our audience who might not have heard of you guys before?
Yeah, Openfort is a wallet. I like to say that Openfort is a wallet operating system that helps developers plug the necessary abstractions for them to ship the right product at the right time, right? So for some people, that means abstracting the way that they, think about custody. For others, it might be they just want a smooth, transaction orchestration. And so Openfort, like with this operating system analogy, we try to meet the developers and builders where they are. And some they are building like a neobank from the scratch, and then they might use fully Openfort plus other parts with like other parts of the infrastructure we have with partners like virtual accounts, etc. And others are like, okay, I already have like most of the stack defined, and I just need paymasters, or I just need a great way to save the private key or like a permission. And that's kind of like the modularity of this operating system.
Amazing. And it's not just one or two different tools you have in the toolkit. There's multiple different things that you have available for developers to get up and running pretty quickly and easily. I guess from your perspective, what are some key highlights or product offerings of Openfort you like developers to hear about today?
Sure. I mean, one of the proudest parts of the product that we have and we've been developing for the past 6 months was the widget SDK. So basically what we did there, we took the great work that the team from Family did with ConnectKit, and we fork it and give it like a longer and util lifetime, basically by adding emails, passkey, social logins that before this wallet kit was not able. It was just like functioning as a wallet library. And so that one is like one of the kind of like proudest products that we have out there. And it's pretty cool because it's packed, like, as a developer, you can literally just like do npm create Openfort, and you have like a fully working version of like the whole authentication, wallet creation, and sending a transaction with a paymaster. And I feel like this is kind of a very interesting way to plug these different tools that Openfort offers in one uniform good UX.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And I recall you have some on-screen demos or on-screen content you want to showcase. So did you want to get into that now, or?
Yeah, we can showcase some cool stuff for sure.
Right.
Let me quickly share my screen here. Okay, is it showing now?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay.
Very good.
Very good. So this all can be found in like demo.openfort.io. This is a work Arnaud from the team did. It's really, really cool. We basically try to build demos that resemble the user lifecycle on UX within crypto. So we call it like stablecoin transfers here on the left, CFO approvals, X402 payments, etc. So just to show you like a couple of them that we think is really cool. One of it is called stealth addresses. So this is basically the ability to create addresses, send and receive money without actually being able from external parties to track the address that receives the money. And so something that we've created here, and this all those demos are like testnet, but like something that we've done here is kind of like, okay, we resemble a cool kind of like mobile UI and show you, hey, this is how like you would receive money, this is how you would send money, etc., etc. So this is like a pretty cool demo. We also made a demo showcasing how you can actually pay transactions with any stable coin that you want. So you can actually say, hey, I want to pay transactions with DAI, I want to pay transactions with USDC, etc., etc. And it all works seamlessly, either if you use a delegated account or if you use a smart account, right? So if you use something like a safe, like a multisig, or if you use an account that delegates to another one in order to make the transaction seamlessly, right? So this is kind of like the type of like demos that we look to offer, and I think that are interesting within Openfort. We created another one with X402, where you have already like a very simple demonstration of an article that you want to read, and with an X402 micropayment, you get the article unlocked. So this type of things are actually like we feel it demonstrates the power of crypto beyond perhaps the hyper financialization of something, and it's actually like more tangible to a role of a person within a company or within their day-to-day consumption, if that makes sense.
It does, and yeah, this is pretty snazzy, and yeah, I've shared the link in the comments below if anybody is interested watching us live today to poke around with, and it would also be shared in the podcast description, so you can check it out after the fact as well. I guess in terms of the competition landscape, like how would you or what would you say you guys do differently than some of the competition out there?
Yeah, I think like wallet infrastructure is a very interesting space because it's one that if you do really well, you get to be in the middle of, end users, companies interacting directly with the blockchains, right? For us, the thing that we, double down a lot in the early beginnings is to have an open core that it's open source, right? And we identify the way that the private keys are managed and the way that private keys are created, et cetera, by being one of like these strong kind of like trusting assumptions that we do from a developer standpoint, saying, yeah, I trust with this partner that they'll do the right thing, right? And it's fine. Like maybe, 95% of the time, like nothing happens. But then if something happens, it ends up being like a catalyst, black swan thing. And so we end up deciding building something we call OpenSigner, which is a self-hostable wallet key management solution. And what it basically means with OpenSigner, it's basically the idea that any project can self-host their own wallet infrastructure if they want and be completely non-custodial towards their end users. Right? So it's very easy to actually create wallets and then be the custodian of the wallet of the private key by encrypting it, et cetera. But it comes with like a lot of regulatory burden and compliance, et cetera. And so with OpenSigner kind of like solves this paradigm by letting any developer actually make this part like this, internalize this part of the stack themselves. And as a result, be able to create wallets without having these compliance burdens in a secure, but also, very importantly, easy way to recover the private keys if for whatever reason something wrong happens with those, like something wrong happens to the users, managing those keys themselves.
Wow, that's amazing to hear that you guys are taking open source so seriously. I guess was there any particular moment during the company's founding or some event that kind of pushed you guys to say, oh, we want to do something, we want to do this differently, we want to make our stack open source?
I mean, it's a good question. There's definitely like a part of it that, that becomes part of like a business strategy and kind of like counter positioning to whatever solution we see in the market. And like we think makes sense that there is a, value proposition that is different for other types of like developers and companies. And I think there's also an important fact here where, a lot of setups that we saw back at the time were claiming that they were like non-custodial, but it was actually not truly non-custodial because, you could recover the private key via like an auth token that you can get from your authentication solution or vendor, or you actually were back channeling some parts to like your server encrypted, et cetera. So like all these things and like not having enough transparency on like how the system was designed were kind of like precipitated the idea of like, okay, we actually need to build something here that Openfort can kind of like cloud host for the clients, but also anyone should be able to quickly run the Docker themselves and get it up to speed.
Yeah, that all sounds very amazing to me. And yeah, I guess are there any opportunities for people to get involved and contribute to the source code? Are there open issues, or how can developers get involved if they want to help out?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have obviously like the repo is open. I think we have a community on Telegram of like some developers coming in and asking questions there of like, okay, what's the right setup that I should use or that I should create to offer this type of guarantees? How do I plug, another authentication vendor like Bedrock, Firebase, etc. And so like people are asking those questions on the community channels. We've got some, PRs from people that, we're improving parts of like the documentation, we're improving parts of the way that you would instantiate and run the repo as well. So yeah, I mean, contributions are always we're always open for contributions. If anyone sees anything as well, obviously opens the issue, and we try to be as timely as possible to reply back there.
Awesome. And we will have the GitHub repo as well in the product description. So if anybody watching today is keen to contribute, definitely you'll have the opportunity to do so. And I guess in terms of the long-term vision of Openfort, you kind of alluded to it early on, where you're keen on exploring agentic payments and similar avenues. I guess from your standpoint, what's the long-term vision of Openfort, and is there any alpha you can perhaps share about what you guys are working on this year?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Like, I think the core assumption that Openfort works on is the idea that we want to make it super easy for any developer to access financial products and access like financial primitives without having to ask permission to do so, right? And we should be able to, as a community, as a group of builders, we should be able to access to like these primitives and build products that we think would benefit the society, and we think would benefit our countries, right? And so having this middleware that simplifies how you build your specialized neobank in Paraguay, or you build your specific wealth manager in Uganda, etc. It's all very powerful, because before, all these primitives were very, very locked by regulation, by big players, and all that moat around it. And so for us, being able to offer this access, regardless of like the geography or ethnicity, etc., is like a very powerful mission. And in terms of where are we going with the roadmap, where are we seeing more traction, more excitement from community, etc. I mean, the obviously like the current thing is all around AI agents, and how you simplify. I mean, there's 2 points here in AI agents that are interesting, right? Like, one is how you simplify as much as possible for these agents to have access to financial rails, so either through credit cards, through crypto wallets, etc. But then the other important part is, okay, now that we have these agents with these endpoints, with these capabilities, like what services do they consume? Do they go to a normal e-commerce and like they buy us a pair of Converse sneakers, or we give them something that they couldn't access before, such as like endpoints that before were extremely gated under like a very high price SaaS offering, right? And so like if you start thinking towards places where you couldn't develop the product because it was very hard to do, or it wasn't existing due to the system constraints, I think you get into a place where you either expand a lot towards pay-per usage, microtransactions, or you eventually also expand a lot towards, okay, do I need to, for instance, if I want to make money, I'm just like a builder, I have no idea what I need to do to register a company, what I need to do to earn money on internet, etc. How do I make it easy for these people to actually earn money without having to ask permission to a bank, or without having to ask permission to a government to do that, right? And I think that is like also something that is now very possible and has been unlocked because of AI agents and like all this AI building toolkit. And so this is kind of like the things that we are, we are thinking a lot. As a matter of fact, today, like later on, we're also launching something very cool, which is Openfort CLI. So basically, it's a very cool building block for any agent and human to interact with like all the infrastructure of Openfort and get it up to speed in just a couple of minutes and do things like sending access transactions on Ethereum, like making investment on Solana, etc., etc. So it's all very, very, very cool.
Yeah, indeed, very cool. And yeah, we've seen this rise in popularity of CLIs again.
Yes,
because a lot of people are finding out, the MCP side of the story is actually eating up a lot of context in your AI agents. So people
you're seeing
are
that as well
shifting
on your
gears.
timeline.
Indeed, yeah, 100%. Yeah.
It's
Um,
crazy.
I mean, it's cool. It's basically, in my opinion, it's all going to be APIs and CLIs from here on out. Any website that doesn't have a API will eventually have one, just because this is the way agents will be consuming data until somebody else comes up with another protocol to do so, right? And
the
absolutely,
whole IPification of software, it's like super interesting. And if you start thinking on, like a very simple API would be, hey, give me like this premium data, and then I return you the premium data. And like how you actually are able to abstract very complex systems under like one single API, and then maybe price this API or give it for free under some conditions, etc. Like this is obviously like super, super exciting. And then the question becomes, how do you find the right APIs, right? And like, how do you vet that those are like the right ones? So maybe someone ends up building like a Google algorithm for this. Who knows?
Yeah, discovery will be huge. And just like verification of these APIs as well. I mean, we saw with OpenClaw recently, like a lot of these skills, like the people didn't know any better, and then they were consuming some skills or APIs that were malicious and getting hacked. So definitely solving for that. Solving for that is a business in itself. So anybody watching today, free startup idea for you.
Free startup idea.
Go build that.
Are you using a lot the OpenFlow stuff and stuff like this? You said your own OpenFlow and things like that as well, Lar?
I went down the rabbit hole to explore it. I didn't get too far past like the initial setup because I was kind of put off by how open it was. So I was like, maybe I'll let the technology mature a little bit before I step back in. But it seems like everybody's digging in there. And Mac Minis, for whatever reason,
exactly.
Apple got a Mac Boost.
Definitely put it on all device. I can put it in your current device, that's for sure.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, 100%. It's a very interesting space, and it's really exciting to see it kind of grow out. And I guess as we're coming to time here, I mentioned it. There might be some aspiring founders watching the show today who might want to start building their own project. I guess as a co-founder yourself, is there any advice that maybe you'd want to give to founders watching today, or maybe it's some advice you'd want to give to your younger self before starting Openfort?
I think, for sure. I think, if I had to give myself like a good advice, would be to just, build things with people that you're having fun with for the most part, at least initially. I feel like I was talking actually to a bunch of friends that they were approaching, company building and like starting their own ventures in a very rigorous and like methodical way, which makes sense. There's no right or wrong, but I always found like the passion and like the kind of like intensity of trying to do something and surround yourself with people with the same level of intensity to be the kind of, the part that replenished me the most. And so that would be like the advice, kind of like find people that like, fills you with energy and like have a common passion for a problem, and then doing it right, going all in on that.
Well said. And I agree. Surrounding yourself with the right type of people really does make a difference. It's very subtle, but great advice. And yeah, I guess as we conclude, what's the best way for people to keep up to date, with all things Openfort?
Yeah, I mean, like follow. I think like on Twitter or like X. Sorry, you can follow us there. We try to be as active as we can with the different things that we ship. And if you like, you want to try parts of the product, just go into the docs and you will see like a chat widget there. If you talk there, it's me answering back. So I'll be the one answering back like any questions that you might have, any ideas, etc. So feel free to ping me there as well.
Amazing. Yeah, and we'll have that contact info down in the description below. So if you're interested in Openfort, asking questions or how you can get involved, definitely reach out to Joan. And with that, thank you so much, Joan, for taking the time out of your busy day to come chat with us today. It was really amazing to learn about Openfort and getting to learn a little bit more about you.
No, it was a pleasure being here. Thanks for inviting us.
Of course, my pleasure.
Okay.
And with that, just want to wish everybody a very happy Friday, happy weekend wherever you may be, and we will catch you here next week for another great episode of DevNTell. Till then, have a good one, folks. Cheers. If you enjoyed this episode of DevNTell, be sure to subscribe to never miss an episode. Till the next one, cheers.